your thermostat failure. I'm just curious. Did you run heat in your room differently then than you do now? Like, what were some things you did different? So the same mistake that you made. Shitty thing I hate about this hobby is when you see someone's collection burn down or whatever.
Oh yeah. I mean, it just was, maybe this is great advice. It was just keeping chondros in a really beginner's way with like, it just was not, I didn't have, I had more snake than I had set up. And that's a
Right.
good advice, man. All you guys out there, probably wanting to snap up ball and snakes, but not have, proper caging and stuff like that. And so, it was just being a young keeper, being ahead of myself and having snakes, um, kept a little more, crudely and with crude gear. And so I made a thermostat change and I must have overdid it. And I went out of town and it had the room heat just kick on and it just cooked everything down. And I lost 4 or 5 animals, which
Terrible.
was my entire collection at that time.
Right. And then I'm sure those were. I mean, let's be honest. What were you paying for those chondros back then? I mean, I'm not sure what the prices were. So I mean, how much was that collection you lost?
It was $20,000 or $30,000 worth of chondros. There were still some snakes that were 4 and 5 grand in that group. Chondros
Jeez.
have held. If anything, now recently they've gone up. In the last
Right.
couple of years,
Yeah.
there's been a little bit of a spike, but for a long time, the chondro market was really steady. It certainly has never crashed. It held really nice and strong and even, and then recently it's had an uptick.
The whole like people soughting after a cheaper chondro is starting to die less and less. People are starting to see the whole value of a United States captain born and bred because I preach to people all the time. Listen, you want to buy a chondro at a show, then that's like you could definitely roll those dice, but just be prepared what's probably going to come.
Yeah,
Because I mean it's like I have people in the comments that I've helped buy a chondro at a show and prepare them. Like, look, this is because you got to admit, John, if someone out there is like, oh man, I don't know if I'm meant for chondros, and especially someone who's not coming from money. Like, you got to understand, getting a good United States captain born and bred should cost you at least $1,200. Like, that's on the low side, right? Like, and a lot of people don't have 1,200 just to spend on a chondro, right? So, I mean, do you recommend somebody starting with an import to see if they could even at least maintain that, or like, what do you recommend for somebody who just doesn't have the money to go in on a like $1,500, $2,000 United States captain born and bred right now, but wants to get into chondros?
I mean, man, there are some people that are bringing in some farm bred stuff, but those farms are just not producing as much as they used to.
Right.
There's just not a lot of that real farm bred stuff coming in anymore. And so a lot of that stuff, there is still some, and those are good. If you can find them, get them. But a lot of that stuff is just wild caught um, stuff that's being marketed as farm bred.
Right.
And I mean, I've certainly gotten some wild caught snakes and kept them going and also and stuff like that. So I mean, it can be done, but that you're going to have a better experience if you had a captive bred chondro. I would highly recommend just saving up the extra little bit of money and getting it. Just taking your time getting there.
I could tell you the biggest problem people have going from like keeping such a species like ball pythons, right? Because ball pythons, they're pretty hardy for the most part. Like, you could do a lot of adjustments in a room and fuck with a lot of temperatures. And a ball python, it's really hard to get it to like die. Like, it's not like, I'm just saying, ball pythons, like, you got to be a real big shithead neglector to kill a ball python. Okay, let's just say that. But that kind of shit does not fly with a new Inquire neonate, or a new import, or something that needs consistent establishment for it to get to where it needs to be. And what I mean by that, like, I've had people buy a United States captain born and bred $3,000-$4,000 neo, and they put it in a room that has ambient temperature that's like 80 degrees during the day and then 50 degrees at night, like crazy drops with temps. And like, you can't, like, like that just doesn't fly with the neos and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And they hit a fucking wall of like, well, dude, now this snake won't eat. And some are going a few months and shit. And this is multiple stories of situations like this. So that's why I'm like, man, like I'm, as happy and blessed as I am with the animals I have, I'm glad that I started with the $300 import that luckily worked out. That's this snake right here. I still have her. But man, like I gave this snake a 90-degree hot spot for the first year of its life. Like I had no clue what the fuck I was doing. And luckily this thing just made it through it. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
like I put this thing through fucking hell, this poor snake. She's here. Like now Mimi's a queen. She lives really good, but I was more of the like I was a ball python breeder. And then I was like, it just didn't compute. So I'm just saying, like, there could be hefty mistakes made by just going from, I don't know, ball python keeping to a $3,000 Neo without no experience, period. Like,
Oh yeah, for
I don't,
sure.
that's why I try to like, because people get so excited and they're like, man, I want a chondro. I want a chondro. I want a chondro. I want one of soccer. Here's the thing of the year. I want one of Socrates' chondros. I want one of Sox Neos. I'm like, God damn, like you want to jump straight to a $3,000 Neo? Like before you haven't even bred any ball pythons yet. Like, so like there's so much hype out there. And like a lot of this hype could really put people in a bad position. That's why I'm like, I kind of want to hear it from you. Like, as far as like, what would you do if you were somebody who does not have $2,000-$3,000, but you're doing everything you can to make it happen to be in a fuck position? I don't know.
I would
Does
try
that
to
make you?
get, if I was in that position, I would try to get a farm bred animal, a legit one. I would try to buy it from someone that like participates in like the MVF Facebook group,
Right.
and that you see them like actually participating, because some of these people that are going to be, that you're going to get them from, that snake's not been imported, but like, so, a week ago, and it's, I would not go to any flipper and buy a wild caught snake to save money. If you must buy a import, which could be wild caught, at least get it from somebody that's brought it in and got some meals in it, and that it's like behaving normally and hydrated. Those can make it, and those can do all right. But some of those things are beat up, and you want to avoid those.
Now, when was the last time you added any import into your collection? I know you said you dabbled in it at some point, but like how long has it been since you've had any kind of import or wild caught stuff in
Actually,
your collection?
I actually bought 3 or 4 Beox like a year or year and a half ago or something.
From who? Patrick?
No, these are import farm bred,
Nice.
but they're likely wild caught. They were
Right.
they had a little bit of size to them, but yeah.
So perfect. Let's talk about your
But
steps.
I won't. I got those, and I lost one of them
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I
after
want to talk about.
eating and doing beautifully, and it had
Yep.
some kind of a liver issue or something. Yeah, so
Expected. That's now. Let me
that's why I
ask
bought
you.
4 of them.
What was your let's talk about what you do when you get those new animals in. What's your protocol, right? Like, let's talk about you. Like, what did you do for those animals? Like, what room did you put them in, and all that stuff? Like, you get did you get it? Like, pick it up from somebody personally, like face to face, or did it come in the mail? How did you get these animals?
Yeah, well, I bought them from somebody I know,
Okay.
and I got them shipped to me, and then I put them in a like a yearling rack all to themselves, and then I treated them for mites just to make sure. I just used prevenamite, and then I got a fecal done on them. I actually got it from Fish Head
Nice.
Labs. They do a mail order fecal now,
Yep. Shout out to Cody and
which is kind
Pia.
of cool. So you can, you don't have to go to the vet. You just collect the sample and drop it in the thing and go, and then they send back what was going on. And so then I wormed the snake. I treated them. So I
Nice.
I wormed them and cleaned them up, and misted them a little bit heavy in the beginning just because they didn't really know much about drinking out of a water bowl, but they just
Right.
took off and did well.
And then how long until that? You said the fourth. It was 4 that you got, or 3? How many did you get?
I
4.
got 4.
And then at what point did the fourth one roll on you?
Oh, I mean, I don't know exactly, but it was more than 6 months, maybe less than a year. A
Oh
long
shit.
time.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. That sucks.
Yeah, and I just came in there and it was like, doing the I don't feel very good.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it seemed
That's that.
kind of have an issue, and yeah,
So,
rolled on them.
but the other three are established. Thank you for watching this week's Trap Talk clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop a comment. If you're looking for exclusive Trap Talk content, go to the very first link in the description below. Join the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join the Patreon family, you get a link to the Discord, which will tap you in with over 160 trappers. I'll catch you here for another Trap Talk clip, and I'm out. Cheers.